Can we be honest? When was the last time you walked out of a dressing room or even ordered something online and you felt good? Not just okay, not just it fits, but actually good. Like that's the one, like that's her, that feeling good. That's what I'm asking. If you are sitting there and trying to remember and coming up empty, this video right here is going to explain why this keeps happening to you. And I need you to listen in closely, because this is not about your body. It's not about your size. And it's surely not about you needing to lose weight before you look good in your clothes. There is something else that's going on entirely that no one is talking about. Stay with me now, because today, that is what it is all going to change. What's up, ladies? My name is Rosie, and I make content for women over 40 to accept their current bodies and rebuild the confidence, style, and self-esteem they have been missing, so that they can look in the mirror and feel proud again, all without losing a single pound. Let's do this. Let me walk you through something. Picture this. You finally decide, okay, I am going to do this. I am about to go shopping. I'm going to find some things that actually work for me right now. So you go to the store or you pull up the website online. You walk around the store and or you browse the site. You grab some things that look promising on a hanger, or you find some things that you have been perusing and you put them in your cart. You head to the dressing room, or the box finally arrived at your home and you open it. And then it starts. First thing you try on, it fits at the bottom but feels weird at the top. Second thing, it's the size that you always wear, but somehow it's too tight in the hips and loose everywhere else. Third thing, it looked amazing on the mannequin. On you, it just looks off. And you can't even explain why it looks off. By the fifth or sixth thing, you aren't even looking at the clothes anymore. You are looking at yourself, and the thoughts, they start. My stomach is so much bigger than I thought. They say, when did my arms start looking like this? They say, nothing is ever going to look right on me. And you walk out that dressing room, or perhaps just throw everything in that box and throw it in the corner. Maybe you just grab one thing or keep one thing from that order just to make you feel good and not feel like you just wasted that trip. Something that was just fine. Something that was safe. Something you already knew in your head that you was going to wear once and throw it to the back of your closet. And then you drive home or sit in a corner and feel worse about yourself than you already had. Have you ever been there? Because I have been there so many times that I have stopped counting. And here is what I want to ask you. How many times have you ordered something or walked out of a store with nothing and blamed your body? How many times have you stood in a dressing room or at a mirror at home and made it mean something about who you are? How many times have you left a shopping trip feeling like the problem was you, your size, your shape, your body, instead of anything else? Because I want to offer you a completely different explanation for what is happening in that dressing room. And once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. The dressing room is not revealing the truth about your body. It is revealing the truth about the information that you have walked in there with. And that is a very different problem with a very different solution. Can I tell you about one of my rock bottom shopping moments? Because I think a lot of you guys are going to recognize yourself in it. This was about a year and a half into my hiding era. I had been wearing the same rotation of those cargo pants and long t-shirts so long that I was getting tired of seeing them. A friend of mine, bless her heart, convinced me to go shopping with her. She said, "Come on, let's go. You'll have some fun. You'll find something. You always used to love to go shopping." And she was right. I did love to go shopping. It used to feel like play, like possibilities, like this whole adventure of me figuring out what worked, what was cute, and what made me feel like myself. But that day felt like walking into a test that I did not study for. We went into the first store and I felt completely overwhelmed. Everything looked like it was designed for somebody else, someone smaller, someone's body that made more sense for clothing. But I pushed through, grabbed some things, and went into the dressing room. And y'all, it was bad. Not because the store was bad, not because the clothes were bad, but because I was shopping like I used to shop before, grabbing my old size, looking at my old silhouettes, using my old rules on a body that had completely changed. I was trying to solve a new problem with some old information. Everything pulled in places that it didn't used to pull. Everything sat differently than I expected to. The proportions were off and I couldn't figure out why. Have you ever stood in a dressing room and felt like your body was doing something wrong? Like everybody else's body cooperates with clothes, but yours somehow does not. That is exactly how I felt. I came out the dressing room and my friend said, "So what do you think?" And I just said, "Nothing worked." And I could see her trying to figure out something to say. And I just said, "I'm done. Let's go." And here's the thing that breaks my heart. Looking back on that day, I was not the problem. I walked in that store with the wrong map. I was using a system built for my old body that no longer worked for my new one. And when it didn't work, I blamed my body and not the system. And that is exactly what most women over 40 do when they go shopping. Not because they are doing something wrong, but because nobody never told them that their system needed an upgrade. Okay, now I want to talk about the dressing room specifically, because the dressing room as a concept was not designed to make you feel good. I'm serious. Think about it. Fluorescent lighting that highlights every dip, bump on your body. Mirrors that are sometimes angled in a genuinely unflattering way. A tiny enclosed space where you are alone with your reflection, with your thoughts, and the gap between what you want something to look like and what it actually is looking like. It is a setup. It is a setup. And we walk in there already vulnerable, already hoping, already a little nervous. And then we get hit with all of that. Have you ever tried on something in a dressing room and thought it looked terrible, bought it anyway, just to try it on at home, and then looked at it at home in your own lighting, in your own mirror, and thought, wait, this actually looks cute? That has actually happened to me several times, because sometimes that dressing room, it was lying to me, y'all. Not maliciously, not on purpose, but the environment itself, it was just working against me. And here's the bigger lie that the dressing rooms tell. It tells you that what you see in that mirror is the whole truth about how you look. But know this, it is not. What you see in that mirror is one version of you in bad lighting, in a stressed state, in clothes that may or may not be a good fit for your body type, making a judgment call in 45 seconds. This right here is not a fair assessment for anybody, but we treat it like it's the verdict. We walk out of that dressing room and we carry that verdict on us for days, sometimes weeks, sometimes even years, saying things like, nothing looks right on me. I can't dress this body. I'll never look the way I want to. All from 45 seconds under fluorescent lights. Here's what I want you to know. The dressing room is not the truth. It is one data point in a very controlled and unflattering environment. And you have been allowing it to have way too much power over the way you see yourself. The clothes that didn't work in that room were not telling you that something was wrong with your body. They were telling you something was wrong with the approach. And that, unlike your body, is completely fixable. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. The dressing room is not showing you the truth about your body. It's showing you the truth about the information that you have walked in there with. Okay, let's get into the actual mechanics of what is actually going wrong, because it's not just about the dressing room environment. there is something else that is happening that is keeping women stuck every time they go shopping. And it is this: we go shopping by size. We go shopping and we go straight to our size, whatever that number is. And we pull things in that size. And we expect those things in that size to fit us. And then, guess what? They don't fit. Or they fit in some places, but not in all the places. And we get confused and frustrated because it doesn't fit our bodies. But here's what nobody tells you: sizing is not standardized. Not even a little bit. A size 14 in one brand is a size 10 in another brand. A medium in one store is a large in another. The number on that tag, it's essentially made up. It varies by brand, by country, by designer, by decade. And your body does not fit consistently across every store, every brand in America. Nobody does. But we have been conditioned to treat that number like it is something real, like it is a grade we are getting on our body. Have you ever gone up a size in a store and felt that specific shame? Like the number, it meant something personally about you? I have many times. I remember grabbing my size and having it not fit, and then standing there holding that size, saying, I cannot be this size. I refuse to believe it. And I put everything back and left that store with nothing, because I was more attached with a number than what actually felt good or worked for my body. And that is what the size number trap does to us. It makes the number the goal instead of the fit. Now here is where it gets even more complicated for women over 40. Perimenopause, it changes your body's proportions, not just your overall size, your proportions. Your waist, it might be a different size than your hips now. Your bust might have changed. Your weight might sit differently than it once did before. Higher, lower, more concentrated in certain areas, which means the idea of one consistent size across your whole body becomes even more of a fantasy than it already was. You might need a 14 at the bottom and a 10 at the top. You might find that the cut matters way more than the size. And if you are still walking in stores looking for your size, one number, that same size you have always worn, you are going to keep walking out empty-handed. Not because your body is wrong, but because you are trying to solve the wrong problem. Have you ever bought something online in your size and it arrives? You tried it on and thought, this cannot possibly be my size. This was made for somebody else entirely. Yes, that can possibly happen because it was actually made for a different body type that happens to share your size number. The size is not the answer. Your shape is the answer. And most women over 40 have never been taught how to shop for their shape, especially a shape that has recently changed. So when did things start to change for me? It started when I stopped trying to fit in a size and started paying attention to my shape. Not my old shape, my current shape, the size that I am right now. And I want to be honest with you. This was not easy at first because paying attention to my current size meant that I actually had to take a good look at my current body. Really look at it without judgment, without comparing it to what it used to be. And that, my friend, that took some practice. I had spent so long avoiding my reflection that really seeing myself, it felt uncomfortable, almost confrontational. But here's what happened when I started doing it. I started noticing things. I noticed where my body had more volume and where it had less. I noticed what parts of me that I actually liked. And there were parts that I actually liked. I just hadn't been paying attention to them because I was so focused on the parts that I didn't like. I noticed what type of fabrics felt good on my skin and which ones made me feel more self-conscious. I started to learn my body again, like it was meeting somebody new, getting to know them, figuring out what worked for them specifically. And slowly, I started to find things that worked. Not because my body changed, but my approach, it changed. Have you ever thought about the fact that you know your best friend's body better than you know your own body? You know what looks good on her. You know what to suggest when you guys go shopping. You know her shape and her style, but you have been a stranger to your own body for years. That is what I want to help you change. And here's the thing, you don't have to figure this out alone. In fact, one of the things that I do with women in my style confidence assessment is this. We slow down. We actually look at your body together without judgment, without comparison to anyone else. And we identify your exact body shape, not a generic category, your specific shape right now in this season. And then I give you 3 style rules specifically for your body shape. Not rules from a magazine, not tips from Pinterest. Rules that actually apply to your body right now, because that is what changes everything. Not a new wardrobe, not losing weight, just finally having the right information for the body that you have right now. I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video, but I wanted to plant that seed now because everything we talked about today, it all connects to that one missing piece, knowing your shape and knowing what to do with it. Okay, let's keep going. Here's an analogy I want you to sit with. Imagine you are driving somewhere you have never gone before. You have directions, but they are old. like printed out MapQuest directions from 2009. You follow them. You take the turns they tell you to take. You go where it tells you to go. And you end up completely lost. Now, whose fault is it? Is it your fault for following the directions? Or is it the directions' fault for being outdated? That is exactly what is going on every time you go shopping. You are following directions that are old, rules that were written for a body you used to have, a system that made sense at one part of your life, but it doesn't anymore. And you keep ending up lost in that dressing room, frustrated, empty-handed, blaming yourself for not being able to navigate. But you are not a bad driver. You just have bad directions. I want to tell you about a client. I'm going to keep her details vague to protect her privacy. But she came to me convinced that she could not dress her body. She had basically given up. She was wearing the same rotation of dark, loose, shapeless clothes every day. Not because she wanted to, but because she had tried so many times to find things that worked and failed so many times that she thought the problem was permanent. When we sat down together and actually looked at her shape, really looked at it with fresh eyes, without all the baggage that she was carrying, we discovered something. She had been shopping for the wrong silhouette her entire adult life, even before her body changed in her 40s. She had just gotten lucky sometimes, stumbling onto things without even knowing why they worked. And when her body shifted in perimenopause, that's when her luck, it ran out, because she had never actually had the right map in the first place. When I gave her 3 specific style rules for her body shape, not general advice, not magazine tips or tricks, specific rules for her, she went shopping that next weekend. She texted me from the dressing room. She said, "Rosie, I tried on 7 things, and 5 out of the 7 things, they worked." And you know why? Because she finally had the right directions. Have you ever had a moment, even a small one, where something fits perfectly and you felt good, and then tried to recreate that moment and find something else and it didn't work? That is what happens when you find the right thing by accident and not by design. My job, what I am passionate about, is helping you get there by design. So it's not a lucky accident. So it's not a one-time thing. So that feeling, that yes, that is her, that me feeling, that happy dance becomes something that you can access on purpose every single time you get dressed. Hold my hand, hold my hand, hold my hand. You are not shopping wrong. You're shopping lost. And lost doesn't mean broken. It means you need a better map. Let me give you something practical right now. Something you can take with you today. There are 3 things that either make or break a clothing item on your body, and none of them are your size. The first one is proportions. Proportion is about balance. It's about how the different parts of an outfit relate to each other and your body. When something looks off on you, when you can't put your finger on why it doesn't work for you, it is almost always a proportion issue. A top that is too long that makes your legs look shorter. A pant that is too wide makes your top half look smaller and your bottom half look bigger. A dress that hits the wrong point on your leg can completely throw off the visual balance of your whole body. Proportion is the invisible thing that nobody talks about that controls everything. The second is where the fabric sits on your body. Not just if it fits, but where it sits. Where does it pull? Where does it gape? Where does it skim? And where does it cling? Fabric that pulls, it's telling you something. Not that your body is too big. That cut is not right for your shape. Fabric that skims, that moves with your body without grabbing onto it. That's the sweet spot. That is what you are looking for every single time. The third is your shoulder seam. This is a small thing, but it makes a massive difference. The shoulder seam of a top or a jacket or a dress should sit right at the edge of your shoulder, not hanging down on your arm, not pulling up towards your neck, right at the edge. When the shoulder seam is wrong, nothing else about the garment will look right, no matter how good the rest of it is. Those three things, proportion, fabric placement, shoulder seam, are not about your size. They are about your shape, and they work for everybody, including yours. Now, does knowing these three things solve anything? No, because applying them to your specific body, understanding how your proportions work, which silhouettes balance your specific shape, what cuts are going to skim your body the right way. That requires knowing your shape first. And that is where most women are stuck. Not because they are not smart, not because they don't care, because nobody has ever sat down with them and actually showed them their shape and what to do with it. That is the missing piece. And until you have it, you are going to keep shopping lost. I want to close with something that I keep thinking about a lot. We have given so much power to a number, not the number on a scale. I mean, that one too, but right now I'm talking about that number on the tag inside your clothes. That number has made many grown women brilliant, accomplished, beautiful women stand in dressing rooms and feel like failures. That number has made women put things back on a rack because they couldn't bring themselves to buy a size that they did not want to be. That number has made people squeeze into items that didn't fit and felt uncomfortable all day rather than go up a size and feel good. Have you ever bought something that was too small, knowing it was too small, because you refuse to buy the next size up? I have done this, and I must confess that I have done it more than once. I have worn things that were uncomfortable and unflattering because the number felt more comfortable than the alternative. And that is actually wild when you think about it. I chose to feel bad in my clothing so that a tag that nobody will see would stay a number that I preferred. The tag does not know you, my friend. It doesn't know your history. It doesn't know what your body has been through. It does not know that you have grew humans inside of it, or survived a pandemic, or have entered perimenopause, or have gotten out of bed on hard days when everything, and I mean everything, felt heavy. It's a number on a piece of fabric, and it has been running your life. Here is what I want you to consider. What if you try something on, and instead of looking at the tag, you just ask yourself one question: how do I feel in this? Not what size is this? Not what does this number mean? Not what will people think if they see this tag. Just how does it feel? Do I feel like myself? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel like I can walk in a room in this and not spend the whole time thinking about what I am wearing? These are the only questions that matter, because clothes are supposed to serve you. You are not supposed to serve them. And when you flip that, when you stop dressing for a number and start dressing for how you feel, everything shifts. The tag, it becomes irrelevant. The size, it becomes a starting point for finding the right fit instead of a verdict on your worth. And the dressing room, it stops being a place that you dread and starts being a place where you figure things out. That is the shift. And it starts the moment you decide that that number on that tag is not your identity. Hold my hand, hold my hand, hold my hand. That size on that tag does not know your story. Stop letting it write it. Okay, all right. Before I let you go, I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier, because I know some of you guys are thinking, okay, Rosie, I get it. I need to know my shape. I need the right information. I need a new map. But how? How do I actually do it? That is exactly what my style confidence assessment is for. Here is what happens when we work together in a session. First, we identify your exact body shape, not a generic body shape from a quiz in a magazine. Your shape right now, as it is today. Second, I give you 3 specific rules built for that shape. Rules that tell you the exact silhouettes, proportions, and cuts that are going to work for your body as it is today. You walk away from that session with real answers, a real starting point, a real map. No more guessing in dressing rooms. No more walking out empty-handed. No more blaming your body for a problem that was never about your body. The link to book is right there in the description. If you are ready to stop shopping lost and start shopping with direction, this is where you start. If this video hit home for you, and I mean really hit home, I want you to do one thing before you close out. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is the number one thing that goes wrong every time you go shopping. I want to know. I read every comment. Subscribe if you have not, because the next video is coming and you don't want to miss it. We're going to talk about 5 mistakes that women over 40 make when trying to dress their changing bodies. And I promise you, at least one of them mistakes are going to make you clutch your pearls and say, oh my God, have I been doing this all this time? The link to book your style confidence assessment is in the description. Well, that's all I have. As I always leave you, we have 20 to 30 good summers left. 20 to 30 good summers where we can move well, vacation, laugh with our friends, and we are what? Not going to waste them. If you are ready to stop guessing and start knowing, I want you to book a style confidence assessment with me. We are going to identify your exact body shape, and I am going to give you 3 specific style rules that work for your body right now. Not general tips, not Google advice. Yours. The link is in the description. Go book it. Let's get you some real answers.